Hey guys. Okay, so what the topic of today's tutorial is basically how to draw up your star chart. I was inspired to do this because inside of Sirens and Shadows, a mermaid cleanse, your cosmic vessel, a feminine self worth. I'm just like, we're looking up all of these different stars. The stars are speaking to them, and as we're delving into questions and doing fixed star magic, which for those of you guys who were inside of Unicorn Legacy, which is the Mercury edition of Star Disco, we focused a lot on the alchemical Mercury retrograde cycle. um, and let me just pull back a little bit and preference this, that, astro magic is experimental, which is why one of the reasons why I know and I have seen that it's also why I have termed this the once and future art. It is, astrology is something that is becoming more and more mainstream, and it's only going to continue to do so because astrology is the language of the stars. It is a language of energy. And that is what Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, is all about. It's about energy, frequency, vibration. And so naturally, having a language to speak about this, to communicate about this, to learn and um, you know um, to engage with energy. Astrology is a very natural way to do that. And so astrological magic being um, the active, or rather the participatory aspect of astrology, meaning where it's not just about receiving the information from the stars, divining the stars. It's about you owning the truth that you yourself are a star, and how are you choosing to engage with, commune with, participate with the starry dance that is happening all the time. So, this is something that's very experimental. It's experimental and experiential. And so, within my experiments, meaning the astrological elections that I conduct, the talismans that I create, um, through actively doing it and collecting the data, doing the litmus tests, you're able to see, what what works and what doesn't work, what works really well, right, or what works better for you versus some other things. And what I have found, and has just totally initiated, me in my devotion to this craft, in my devotion to this art, um, initiated me into fixed star magic. Now, the fixed stars, you know, in the strata, or the stratosphere rather, of the celestial realm, right? We have the moon. The moon is the closest um, heavenly body, to planet Earth. And so this is why she is termed the gateway drug to astrology. Another term for her could be the cosmic gatekeeper. And it's because all of the light from the celestial realms actually has to filter down through the moon in order to even get here into Earth's atmosphere. The moon is, she's the vessel, the cosmic container that, is actually what is, if you're wanting to channel down light, if you're wanting to, create a connection, right? Like the pole, she's the feminine pole, right? That actually magnetizes and draws down that light and gives it. It's like, it's why it's also the pussy portal. the moon. And so, by the way, for those of you who are not inside of, or maybe you've been thinking about it or you're intrigued about it, this is the realm of Sirens and Shadows, a mermaid cleanse. It's the moon magic edition of Star Disco. So, that's why it's your cosmic vessel of feminine self-worth. So, yeah, so the moon, is so important, of course, when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to, I mean, astro magic is a form of manifestation. So yeah, so the moon is that first layer, and then we have the planets, and then beyond the planets we have the fixed stars. And in the Kabbalah, the fixed stars belongs to the supernal triangle, meaning it is um, above, the above the abyss. So in my experimental work, when I started working with the fixed stars, um, and then also doing parallel realm visitation, which is what we did. Those of you guys who are inside Unicorn Legacy, you'll remember that, I, via the parallel realm visitation, is how I received the guidance of working with specific fixed stars. And in so doing so, just like literally just had like incredible revelations and developments in my magic and in my path, and in connecting me with um, very incredibly, I'm so incredibly blessed to work with these people, other lights here on this planet, other, human beings, lights. So that is very much tied into my particular path, um, that I've been receiving prophecies around, with Harlequin the Huntress, with what is coming ahead, and like things that it's just like you cannot make this stuff up, right? It's like you receive the information, you're just like, okay, all right. And then, as I start researching it and delving into it, and, and just like connecting all of the dots, it's just like, wow. So that for me has, I mean, and there, I have so many stories about this, of like how fixed star magic really is, because, you know, the fixed stars are, they come from the supernal triangle. They're just a much more potent, powerful, and enduring form of anchoring down the light here onto this planet. It's like you're really anchoring it deep. So, so naturally, of course, this is what's coming up inside of the Mind Spa, which is the Telegram chat inside of um, the Mermaid Cleanse. And so I wanted to come on here, and for anybody who wants to start learning how to either draw up their personal chart, um, draw up other people's charts, and then also, if you're wanting to start practicing drawing up chart elections, which is a big part of astro magic. And the more you just start becoming comfortable and proficient and playing around, right? Like those are the notes essentially that you're playing on the piano that eventually will lead to be able to compose a song. So let's get right into it, shall we? Now, let me just give me a moment. Let me share my screen. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is this is a free software that is called Astrodeance. It's also, oh, before I do this, let me just, in case, because I invited some of you guys, let's keep the chat up in case. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Just wanted to make sure that this was recording. Here, is this how I, just give me a moment, guys. Thanks for your patience. No, no. Okay. So this is astro.com, also known as AstroDience. And so this is a free software website. It's a program where you can draw up charts. And what you're going to do is, I already have an account. So let me see, let me log out. So, you can, let's go back here. You're going to have to, let me start over. So if you don't have an account, you can sign in as a guest, or if you create an account, which is, I absolutely recommend that. It allows you to store, multiple charts. But, if you're just going on as a guest user, you're going to come over here to where it says at the very top where it says horoscopes, and you're going to go to drawings, calculations, and data. So what you want to do is come over here to the extended chart selection. So as you are here, and so for guest users, click here to go to the data entry page. So click there, go to the data entry page, accept their terms and conditions, and here is where you're going to input the birth data entry. So for example, we'll put in mine, my first name. So, and this is, where you will be putting in your name or whoever name that you're drawing up, and or like, let's say I was going to be drawing a chart up for, let's use, for example, the fixed star Aldebaran. We'll put in Aldebaran. You would put it there, and then under here, under the gender, this would be for an event because it's not a person, as an example. So when we get to that, for those of you guys that will be doing the fixed star magic elections with me, that's how you guys are going to start doing it, okay? So my birthday is October 11th. I was born at 1:10 p.m. in the United States of America in Miami, Florida. Okay, so as you can see here, I haven't even actually created the chart, but you will see here where it draws up your big three, which is your sun, your moon. These are the symbols for the sun, the glyph for the sun, the glyph for the moon, and the glyph for the ascendant, also known as the rising sign. So just give me a second. I kind of want to see what is going on here. In the Zoom meeting. Is this screen being shared? I don't think the screen was being shared this whole time. Was it? I don't think so. Yeah, I didn't. I have to start. Share the screen. So I'm screen sharing now. See, but why isn't it showing it to me here? I like to see it so I can see like what it is that you guys are seeing to make sure. Hmm. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll just have to see how it goes, and if not, I'll start over. That's cool. All right. So let's go back to as from the beginning because I don't think I was sharing the screen before. So like let's say, you're just coming on to boom, astro.com, and what are you going to do first? You're going to come over here to horoscopes. Go down to where it says drawings, calculations, data, extended chart selection, right? So now we're here. We're going to go to data entry because you're a guest user. It'll just be different if you have an account. It'll show you where to data entry page, or it will just take you directly to the screen. So come back again. Let's put in my info. And then, yeah, like I was saying, it's going to pull up in the upper right hand for you, what the big three are. So the sun sign, the moon sign, as well as the rising sign. So, and here's like a little, I guess, like a hack that for those of you guys that are doing chart elections. So you're not putting in somebody's birth time, birth data. You're actually choosing one. This is at the point where you're wanting to, look at, what time that you want to actually, um, you know, um, set for an astrological election, and or maybe it's a business that you want to launch, it's a website that you want to launch, it's a performance that you want to do, like you want to start something at this time. It's a wedding that you're planning, or I do wedding elections as well. So anyhow, before you actually draw up the chart, you can already see what degree that the rising sign is, and if you need to change that, it's like you can already see that here, or the moon sign. Like, so for example, you want to get, the moon is so important. Like I was saying before, the moon, astro magic, it is like one of the number one rules is the moon needs to be in a favorable position. So if you're already drawing up something and you're seeing the moon is not in a favorable sign, then without even pulling up the chart, you know that you've got to change your day and your time. So just like a little hack for those of you who are at that point. Okay. So now, because we're in the extended chart selection, now this is really important because for the purpose of working with me and, how I work, I request that everybody there's different house systems. And what I mean by that, a house system is the way that you actually break up the sky, or you divide up the sky into what are called the houses. There's 12 houses that correspond to the different areas of life. And so I work with what's called whole sign houses, which means that it's for every sign is the house. So meaning the first house, every house only gets one sign. There's other house systems that will break that up where, and I'll show you what that looks like. So, but you do that over here where it says options for zodiac and houses, house system. So the default on astro.com is not whole sign. So you need to go and change this if and when you are drawing up charts. And this is just for working with me and communicating with me and for all of my programs, because this is the system that I enjoy using the most. And it is the one that the classical Hellenistic rules of which astro magic comes from works with. So, I mean, if you're doing other different types of astrology and other different types of readings, then absolutely, like there's so many different kinds. And it's not that this way is right or wrong. It's just it's like you have to know the rules of the game of which that you're playing first. And then once you understand the rules, then you can start, making up your own rules and exploring and doing other things. So especially, in with learning with me, you're going to use whole signs. And this is also because I want everybody to be on the same page, you know? So you're going to click on whole signs and then click here to show the chart. And so voila, now you have my chart. And as you can see, there is, it's very clean, which is another reason why it's very clean, it's very simple, it's very classical. There is a whole sign and it fits very nicely inside of this house. As opposed to, go back to the chart selection, if let's say we were just to go to the default, you're going to get something that looks like this, where you see how in this first house here, we've got Capricorn and then a little bit of Aquarius going on. And then in the second house, we've got Aquarius and a little bit of Pisces going on. You see, it's not even. So we're going to go back and we're going to fix that, or adjust it rather, for my purposes and for my values that I'm using. So yeah, and so now you have your chart, right? And so so there's a lot of other different options that up over here you can see the day. I was born on a Thursday. So I mean, that's also really significant. You can look at the day that you were born, because that has a lot to do with the planet. Every day of the week is ruled by a planet. What planet, you're working to some degree quite a bit with. I was born on a Thursday, which is Jupiter's day. So anyhow, let's go back to the chart selection. Let's see if some other things that you can do. There's the list of fixed stars. So you can go through here to see, and click through like where the fixed stars are. So for example, I think I was talking about Aldebaran, right? So let's just click on Aldebaran. This is really advanced, but just to play, we're going to show the chart, and it's going to show you where Aldebaran is featured in my chart. So as you can see, I have Aldebaran exact on my 1 degree off of my Chiron, which is it's a very prominent asteroid. It's known as the Wounded Healer. So let's just go back to some other little things that you guys can play with. I mean, but this is the basics, right? You can also, there's different types of charts. So, there's composite charts, there's transit charts, progress charts. There's so many different things. Your solar return chart, your lunar return chart. You can do Venus return charts, Mars. I mean, actually, I don't think they have Venus and Mars return charts on here. Draconic charts. So just to if you guys want to start just exploring and whatever, you're going to find under the chart type. Special charts. For astro maps, if you want to start looking at, this is for travel and locational chart. So meaning depending upon where you're at in the world and where you're traveling to in the world, there's different ley lines, right? There's different planet lines that when you go to a different part of the world, that it's really going to light up a certain aspect of your chart and a certain planet in your life. So for example, when I went to Brazil, Brazil runs exact through my Venus line, which is exactly what I experienced. And that's actually in my astral, in my DNA. I found out, my mom just did her, her genealogy, or her, the name is eluding me right now. But anyhow, when she did that, we found out from my mother's side, who's Cuban, is that a big part of our lineage is from Spain and from Portugal, and then also from the Netherlands, like Viking area, as well as Cuba and Africa, or no, I'm sorry, China, as well as Africa. So that was really interesting. So when you travel to those areas, look up, or even if you're, so for example, I'm going to show you. Let's go to the Astro World map in color. I'll click here to show the chart. So for an example, that's, you can see, right? And so, is this the, and so you can see right here, this green line. So Rio de Janeiro, like being right here, which is where I went, is my Venus line. Boom. This green glyph. It's really hard to see on here, I think, especially when I'm screen sharing. But anyhow, my Venus line runs directly through South America, through Brazil, through, let's see if we can I make it bigger a little bit on here? No, I can't make it bigger, I don't think. But when you're doing this on your own screen, from your own laptop, you'll be able to make it bigger. So, yeah, so that's something cool to play around. There's a lot of different things. I mean, there's just like so much. So anyhow, I'm going to stop the screen share. So that's it. Like, that's the basics of drawing up your own chart, like inputting your birth data, drawing up the chart, going to the whole sign houses with the Astro House chart, or the house selection. You're going to click on whole signs and then click your chart. Okay. So, and it's the same thing. Like if you're choosing a date of which to draw up an astro election, you would input that date, with the exact time, and then draw up your chart. And then you'll be able to look at your chart and see, is this what you like, right? Like, and start breaking down the features of the chart. Okay. All right. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them inside of the group. Again, this is your invitation. If you're not inside of inside of Sirens and Shadows, a Mermaid Cleanse, I highly recommend that you join us. It is so next level. Just the energy in there is already just so gorgeous and delicious. So I would love to have you. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and or for the sign up link, and or for payment plans. Okay. Bye.